Before luxury, before color, before intricate patterns, every brocade fabric begins with something incredibly simple: a cotton flower. In the quiet countryside, where the morning sun gently touches the earth, fields of cotton stretch endlessly, like soft clouds resting upon the land. The air is calm, the atmosphere peaceful, and the day begins with a rhythm shaped by nature. Farmers walk slowly between the plants, their hands moving with experience passed down through generations. Each cotton boll is carefully picked, not rushed, not forced, because even the smallest fiber carries the promise of something greater. This is the first stage of transformation. The cotton feels soft, pure, and weightless, yet within it lies the foundation of a fabric that will one day carry beauty, culture, and heritage. Baskets gradually fill as the harvest continues under the warm sunlight, and the quiet sound of rustling leaves becomes the soundtrack of creation. Here, there are no machines shaping perfection, only patience, dedication, and human touch. Every handful of cotton collected represents hours of labor, respect for the land, and a connection between nature and craftsmanship. It is a reminder that even the most luxurious textiles begin with humble origins. As the harvest comes to a pause, the cotton begins its journey beyond the fields, moving from nature into the hands of artisans who will guide its transformation. This is not just harvesting. This is the beginning of a story woven by time, care, and countless human hands. After leaving the quiet cotton fields, the journey of the fiber enters a more delicate stage: preparation. Freshly harvested cotton, though soft and beautiful, carries within it seeds, dust, and traces of the environment where it was grown. Before it can become thread, it must be carefully cleaned and refined. This is where the process of ginning begins. Inside small workshops filled with warmth and quiet concentration, artisans gently open the cotton bundles. What appears simple to the eye is, in reality, a stage that demands patience and precision. The cotton is passed through traditional ginning tools that slowly separate the seeds from the fibers, preserving the softness that will later define the fabric's quality. As the seeds fall away, the cotton begins to transform. The dense clusters expand into light, airy clouds of fiber, revealing their true purity. Workers handle the cotton with familiarity, fluffing and preparing it so that every strand remains smooth and untangled. This careful attention ensures that the future thread will be strong, even, and capable of carrying intricate designs. There is a quiet satisfaction in this transformation. The rhythmic movement of hands, the gentle mechanical sounds, and the floating fibers create a moment where craftsmanship meets preparation. Each step may seem small, but together they shape the foundation of everything that follows. By the end of this stage, the cotton is no longer raw material. It has been purified, softened, and made ready for its next transformation. The moment when loose fiber will finally gain structure. With the cotton now cleaned and softened, the journey enters a stage where transformation becomes visible. The loose fibers that once drifted freely must now gain strength, direction, and purpose. This is the art of spinning. Inside quiet workshops, artisans sit beside traditional spinning wheels, tools that carry generations of knowledge within their movement. The process begins gently. Soft cotton is pulled apart, aligned, and prepared so that every fiber can join together in harmony. What appears delicate is, in reality, the foundation of strength. As the spinning wheel begins to turn, a remarkable change takes place. The cotton, once weightless and scattered, slowly twists into a continuous thread. Fingers guide the fibers with remarkable sensitivity, balancing tension and softness at the same time. Now, too much force can break the yarn, while too little can weaken it. The craft lies in feeling the material rather than controlling it. The rhythm of spinning is almost meditative. The soft rotation of the wheel, the quiet pull of fiber, and the gradual formation of yarn create a moment where time seems to slow down. Artisans often work for hours, maintaining consistency that will later determine the beauty and durability of the fabric. Every spool of thread carries countless subtle decisions made through touch and experience. In this stage, human connection to the material becomes unmistakable. Spinning is not only about producing yarn. With the yarn now spun and strengthened, the journey enters a stage where emotion begins to take form. Until this moment, the threads have carried only texture and structure. Now they are ready to receive color, the element that transforms material into expression. Inside dyeing workshops filled with warmth and rising steam, artisans prepare pigments that will breathe life into the yarn. Large pots simmer gently as colors are mixed with patience and care. Some shades are inspired by nature, drawn from plants, minerals, and traditional recipes passed through generations. Others reflect evolving artistic tastes, offering deeper vibrancy and durability. Before immersion, the threads appear quiet and smooth. When the yarn is lowered into the dye bath, the transformation begins instantly. That color spreads through the fibers like ink flowing through water, slowly replacing simplicity with character. Each movement is deliberate. The yarn is stirred, lifted, and submerged again, allowing the pigment to settle evenly across every strand. The air becomes filled with steam, warmth, and the subtle fragrance of dye. An atmosphere where craftsmanship feels both technical and artistic. Artisans observe carefully, knowing that timing determines the depth and richness of each shade. A few extra moments can intensify the color, while patience ensures consistency. The process demands attention, not only to the dye, but to the behavior of the thread itself. The fiber must absorb color without losing its softness or strength. Once the desired tone is achieved, the yarn is lifted from the bath, now carrying a completely new identity. With the threads now carrying color and identity, the journey approaches a stage where preparation meets precision. Before any pattern can emerge, before any motif can take shape, the loom must be carefully prepared. This stage is quiet, technical, and deeply important. The moment where structure is built for artistry to exist. Inside weaving workshops, wooden looms stand like silent frameworks waiting to come alive. The dyed yarn is brought forward, not yet fabric, but no longer just thread. Artisans begin by arranging the warp threads, the long parallel strands that will form the backbone of the textile. Each thread must be stretched with exact tension, neither too loose nor too tight, creating a balanced foundation that will support intricate weaving. The process is slow and deliberate. Threads are guided through heddles one by one, a task that demands patience and steady hands. A single misalignment can disturb the entire pattern later, so artisans move with intense focus, often working in near silence. This stage may not carry the visual excitement of weaving, yet it holds the discipline that determines the quality of everything that follows. As the loom begins to take shape, the workshop fills with subtle sounds. The gentle movement of wood, the quiet brushing of threads, and the soft coordination between artisans working together. There is a sense of anticipation in the air, as if the loom itself is waiting for the first movement of creation. The shuttle is placed nearby, the weft yarn arranged carefully and the petals tested for balance. Every component must function in harmony. The loom is not just a machine, it is an extension of the artisan's hands, translating motion into texture and intention into fabric. Light passes through the stretched threads, revealing a delicate geometry that hints at the fabric yet to be born. The symmetry of warp lines resembles an empty canvas, structured but silent, ready to receive color, pattern, and movement. By the end of this stage, preparation is complete. The loom stands fully assembled, threads aligned, tension balanced, and tools within reach. What once were separate elements, cotton, yarn, and color, are now united within a single framework. The foundation is ready, and the atmosphere shifts from preparation to anticipation. The next movement will not simply be technical, it will be artistic, the moment when hands, threads, and time begin to weave together, transforming preparation into the living beauty of brocade. With the loom prepared and the threads aligned in quiet anticipation, the journey finally reaches its most extraordinary stage, weaving. This is where preparation transforms into artistry, where movement becomes texture, and where time itself seems to slow under the rhythm of skilled hands. The artisan takes a seat before the loom, not as an operator of a machine, but as a storyteller about to begin a narrative written in thread. Every movement that follows carries intention. The loom petals are pressed gently, opening pathways between the warped threads, creating space for the weft to pass through. The shuttle moves across the loom in a smooth, practiced motion, the first heartbeat of the fabric's creation. At first, the weaving appears simple. Threads cross one another, structure begins to form, and the textile slowly emerges from what was once only a grid of possibility. But brocade is not ordinary weaving. Beneath the steady rhythm lies a deeper complexity, the introduction of extra threads that will rise above the surface, creating patterns that feel almost sculpted into the cloth. The artisan pauses frequently, not out of hesitation, but out of precision. Brocade weaving demands patience that cannot be rushed. Decorative threads, often shimmering with metallic zari, are inserted carefully to form motifs that float above the base fabric. Each motif is built thread by thread, sometimes requiring countless adjustments before a single design element is complete. This is the moment where fabric becomes more than material. It becomes ornament, identity, and cultural expression. The gentle tapping of the loom creates a quiet rhythm within the workshop. The shuttle glides, pedals move, and fingers guide tension with remarkable sensitivity. These sounds form a kind of music, repetitive yet deeply calming. Hours pass almost unnoticed as the artisan remains immersed in concentration, balancing speed with accuracy, motion with mindfulness. As the fabric grows, the first motifs begin to reveal themselves. Floral patterns emerge like delicate drawings brought to life, geometric shapes appear with quiet elegance, and metallic threads catch the light, transforming simple texture into something regal. The surface of the brocade begins to shimmer softly, reflecting not only light but the countless decisions made during its creation. There is a visible dialogue between the artisan and the loom. Hands lift threads to create space for decorative elements, fingers adjust alignment, and eyes continuously evaluate the harmony of the design. Every correction is gentle, every movement intentional. Mistakes are not easily hidden in brocade, which is why experience becomes the artisan's greatest tool. Years of practice allow subtle imperfections to be corrected before they are even visible. Time plays a different role here. Unlike modern production that values speed, brocade weaving values patience. A single section may take hours to perfect, and a full piece may require days or even weeks of dedicated work. Yet within this slowness lies the true essence of craftsmanship, the understanding that beauty cannot be hurried. The metallic zari threads add another layer of complexity. Their reflective quality demands careful handling, as excessive tension can dull their brilliance while insufficient tension can distort the motif. When woven correctly, they create highlights that dance across the fabric, giving brocade its signature sense of luxury. Under warm light, the patterns appear almost alive, shifting gently with every movement of the cloth. As the weaving continues, the loom gradually transforms from a tool into a witness. It bears the rhythm of effort, the quiet focus of the artisan, and the gradual emergence of something deeply meaningful. The fabric rolls forward slowly, revealing completed sections that hold both texture and memory. Each finished motif represents a small victory, a moment where patience and skill have come together successfully. Beyond technique, the brocade weaving carries cultural depth. For generations, these patterns have been associated with celebration, heritage, and identity. Weddings, ceremonial garments, and treasured heirlooms often rely on brocade to express dignity and beauty. The artisan is not simply creating fabric, but preserving tradition through every woven line. Eventually, the fabric reaches a stage where the design feels complete. The motifs align harmoniously, the surface carries depth and richness, and the textile begins to display the unmistakable character of brocade. The artisan slows the rhythm of the loom, carefully finishing the final rows with the same attention that guided the first. A quiet pause follows. The newly woven fabric rests on the loom, shimmering gently, carrying within it hours of concentration, generations of knowledge, and the silent dialogue between human hands and thread. What began as cotton has now become a surface rich with pattern, texture, and cultural memory. This is the heart of the journey, the moment where preparation, patience, color, and skill converge to create something that feels both tangible and timeless. The brocade fabric now exists not only as cloth, but as a story, one that reflects the dedication of artisans who transform ordinary fibers into extraordinary expressions of craft. And as the loom falls silent, the fabric continues its journey forward, ready for refinement, finishing, and the final touches that will prepare it for the world beyond the workshop. With the weaving complete, the brocade fabric rests quietly, carrying within it hours of patience, skill, and artistic precision. Yet the journey is not finished. Before the fabric can be presented in its full beauty, it must pass through a final stage of care, inspection, and finishing. The woven cloth is carefully removed from the loom and gently unrolled across a large working surface. This moment reveals the fabric in its entirety for the first time. Patterns that once appeared in fragments now flow continuously, and the richness of texture becomes fully visible. Artisans gather around, not with excitement alone, but with the careful attention that craftsmanship demands. Inspection begins with the smallest details. Hands move slowly across the surface, feeling for irregularities that the eye might miss. Raised motifs are examined for consistency, metallic threads are checked for alignment, and the overall structure of the textile is evaluated with quiet concentration. Even the most subtle imperfection is treated with respect because perfection in handmade fabric lies not in flawlessness but in careful refinement. Loose threads are gently trimmed using fine scissors, a process that requires both precision and patience. Each small correction enhances the clarity of the design, allowing the motifs to stand out with greater definition. The fabric is handled delicately throughout, as if preserving not just the material but the effort embedded within it. Following inspection, the finishing process begins. The fabric is brushed lightly to remove any remaining fibers, restoring the smoothness of the surface. Steam is then applied carefully, allowing the threads to relax and settle into their final form. This step softens the textile, enhances its drape, and brings out the subtle sheen that defines brocade's elegance. Artisans may gently stretch and align the fabric to ensure its structure remains balanced. Under warm light, the textile begins to reveal a refined character, one that reflects both craftsmanship and care. The finishing stage does not change the fabric's identity. Instead, it reveals its fullest expression. As the cloth is folded and prepared, a quiet sense of accomplishment fills the workshop. What once existed as separate threads has now become a cohesive piece of art, strengthened by careful inspection and elevated through finishing. This stage represents respect. Respect for the craft, the artisan, and the journey the fabric has taken. With refinement complete, the brocade fabric stands ready to be admired, worn, and cherished. The next stage will not transform the fabric further, but will present it, allowing its beauty, texture, and story to speak for themselves. After hours of weaving, careful inspection, and delicate finishing, the brocade fabric finally reaches a moment it has been quietly moving toward: presentation. The cloth is gently unfolded and laid open, allowing its full character to be seen without interruption. Patterns that once formed thread by thread now flow effortlessly across the surface, revealing a harmony of texture, color, and intricate design. Under soft light, the raised motifs catch subtle highlights, creating a quiet shimmer that speaks of elegance rather than excess. This is the moment when craftsmanship becomes visible. Artisans handle the fabric with a sense of pride, smoothing its surface and allowing the textile to fall naturally. The drape of the cloth tells its own story, one of softness balanced with strength, structure blended with fluidity. Every fold reflects the hours of dedication hidden within its creation. As the fabric is lifted and displayed, its beauty becomes more than visual. The movement of the textile reveals depth within the motifs, while the metallic threads reflect light in a way that feels almost alive. The brocade no longer appears as individual elements woven together, but as a unified expression of artistry and patience. It carries both the simplicity of cotton and the richness of intricate craftsmanship. Arranged carefully, folded, and presented, the fabric transforms from a workshop creation into a piece ready for the world beyond. It may soon become part of ceremonial attire, a treasured garment, or an heirloom preserved through generations. Yet regardless of where it travels next, it continues to carry the quiet presence of the hands that shaped it. In this moment of presentation, the journey pauses, not as an ending, but as a celebration. The brocade fabric now stands complete, its beauty fully revealed, inviting admiration while holding within it the story of time, skill, and human touch. As the workshop grows quiet and the day gently fades, the brocade fabric rests, no longer a work in progress, but a completed expression of patience and skill. The loom stands still, threads barely moving in the soft evening air, as if holding the memory of every motion that brought the fabric to life. In this silence, the true meaning of craftsmanship becomes clear. Beyond the patterns and shimmering threads lies something deeper, the dedication of hands that transformed simple cotton into a lasting work of art. For the artisan, the fabric is more than a finished product. It carries hours of concentration, inherited knowledge, and a connection to traditions that have endured across generations. Each motif reflects not only design, but time, moments of focus, correction, and quiet perseverance woven into